Hello, everyone. I want to welcome everyone to today's Fexa Friends Network show. Which service model is best for your facility maintenance program? We're going to give folks just a few more seconds to onboard to the show today. We have a good-sized audience that has registered. And so we're going to give just a few more seconds for those folks to continue to join us. And I hope everyone is having a good day. Okay, I want to welcome you to today's show and thank you for spending a little bit of your time with us today. I know everyone's time is very precious and important, especially during this time of year. But we hope over at the Fexa Friends Network that you are able to take something away from this and every Fexa Network show that you are able to use, or at least expand your knowledge base in your professional life. I'm Diana Hart, the host of the Fexa Friends Network. The purpose of the Fexa Network is to be a place to offer education, best practices, and trend opinions to the multi-site facilities and service provider communities. If you have a topic that you would like to see on a future Fexa Network show, or if you would like to be a guest educator yourself, please drop me a line at fexafriendsnetwork@fexa.io. We hope you continue to support this growing effort to educate and uplevel the facilities management community by showing up and engaging with our topics. A quick note about Fexa, this program's primary sponsor. For those of you who don't know Fexa, we create smart, flexible, and easy-to-use facility management software for multi-site companies. Fexa transforms business processes into automations and workflows that find efficiencies to save time and resources. Fexa's data-driven asset management programs help companies track, analyze, and optimize repair or replace decisions. We also help companies track their refrigerant emissions for regulatory compliance and ESG reporting purposes. For more information about Fexa or to request a demo, hop on over to fexa.io. I want to let everyone know that even though your mic is muted, this show is interactive, and if you have a question for my guest educators today, please type your question into the Q&A window at any time during our discussion. We will get to as many questions as we have time for. If you have ever wanted to ask an expert about different service delivery models, today is your lucky day, so don't hold back, because if it's on your mind, others are probably thinking about it too. And now we're going to turn to today's topic: which service models are best for your facility maintenance program? Different service delivery options offer different advantages. Some companies rely on their own staff, but many corporations engage with third-party service providers to manage a program that covers all aspects of their interior and exterior service needs. Third-party suppliers might self-perform or outsource the work or provide a hybrid model that combines both. So which option is best for your portfolio? This is exactly what we're going to get into today by listening to what the pros have to say. And with that in mind, I want to welcome my guest experts, Laura Reidendow and Crystal Vasquez from Chain Store Maintenance. Sorry, Laura, if I butchered your last name, even though I tried to practice. Laura is an experienced leader with a history of more than 30 years working in the facility services industry and works closely with clients to develop and implement solutions for their facility management programs. Crystal develops facility maintenance programs and works with clients to ensure the interior and exterior of their programs are in peak condition. Welcome to the show, Laura and Crystal. We're excited to hear all about this topic.
Thank you for having us today, Diana. Yes, my name is Crystal Vasquez. I'm the Director of Accounts for Chain Store Maintenance. I have been with the company for 14 years. I started in the customer service department and worked my way through up to Director of Accounts, where now I develop comprehensive facilities programs for our clients. I am active in a number of the trade associations, RIFMA connects, and I love mentoring new and emerging professionals into the facilities industry.
Hello, and thank you for having me. I'm Laura Riondo. I know it's a tough last name. I've been in the facility services industry for over 30 years, including the past 28 with chain store maintenance. However, 3 of those years, I went over to work for Staples corporate office as an FM coordinator and returned back to chain store in 2001. Like Crystal, I work with our customers to find solutions and programs for their facility maintenance needs and have been active with RIFMA and Connects since their inception throughout my career.
Wonderful. Thank you for participating with us today and being part of the education community for facilities management and service providers. So I really appreciate you coming onto the show and taking out time to talk to us today. So tell our audience a little bit more about chain store maintenance and how it works and your approach to different service delivery models.
Well, chain store maintenance has been providing facility maintenance repair services for retailers, restaurants, convenience stores, lodging, financial services, healthcare, dental providers, and multi-unit facilities for over 30 years. We work with hundreds of businesses, including Starbucks, TJ Maxx, Staples, Driven Brands, Circle K, Hertz, Petco, just to name a few.
Yeah, and historically our focus had been on interior trades, handyman services, electrical, locksmith, plumbing. But in February of this year, Chain Store was acquired by MCS, which had been focusing primarily on exterior services, so snow removal, landscaping, and parking lot maintenance. Now, Chain Store offers a combined suite of interior and exterior services for commercial properties so that our clients have one resource for all their property maintenance needs.
Okay. Thanks for that background. That's very helpful. And it's helpful for the audience to understand that chain store maintenance really does offer a lot of expertise in this area and with this question. So let's dive in. Our topic for today is determining what service model is best for different facilities maintenance programs for different types of organizations. So with that in mind, and that as the basis, what is the first option that should be considered?
Well, the first key decision to make is whether you want to insource or outsource your facilities program. So insourcing is a great solution. You hire your own team, you train them, you have them at your disposal. It allows you to have complete control of your resources. You know the fixed costs because you are the one driving the costs. You have complete control over, your staff and how many people you have on staff. You're able to provide specific training for any systems you might have that are specific to your brand and your company, your floor plans. And then you get to really drive what those processes and procedures are for your people. This type of structure works really good if you have just a few locations or your locations are densely populated, like in dense areas. So you might have 15 locations in a Dallas market. That's an ideal situation for insourcing. If you have, vast and sprawling locations across the country, this might not be the best fit for you.
And we've seen the in-source model less and less. Facility managers are quickly discovering a few things. If you have your own techs, either they are super busy or super slow. And it's hard to find the right balance to have on staff. It's basically impossible to find your own service techs who can handle all of your maintenance needs. Even the best techs might not have skills or training for a specific request. With regards to specialized services, those typically requiring licenses, like HVAC, they still need to be outsourced. And don't forget, outsourced national suppliers require contractors to have necessary licenses, insurance in order to work for them. They won't even onboard them unless they do. So even in the best intentions, you're ultimately going to outsource some of your facility maintenance needs.
Okay, interesting. So then, given all of that, it sounds like insourcing has its own sets of challenges. So how does outsourcing compare to that then?
I think, outsourcing has a few key benefits that would mitigate some of the issues you run into with insourcing. First of all, when you outsource, you have access to every trade you could possibly need at your fingertips. Everything from regular maintenance to emergency services, because those companies can provide a wide range of services and response times. Second, you don't have to worry about scaling your staff to accommodate whether you're growing your brand or you're closing down locations. As we saw during COVID, some of the brands had to downsize. They had to reduce underperforming locations. And with that comes having to scale in-house technicians. With using an outsourcing model, you don't have to worry about that. You can use as little or as much labor from your provider as needed. And last, you're able to have experienced trade people handling your services. So you're getting plumbers for plumbing jobs, locksmiths for locksmith jobs. The jobs match the skill set of the technicians that are there, and you're not necessarily relying on a generalist to take care of the issues for you.
Yes, that's right, Crystal. One thing that we hear from many of our customers who like working with companies like Chain Store Maintenance is that they have one contact for all their facility maintenance needs, whether it's a single market, a region, or across the country, as well as to handle their emergency service calls 24/7, 365. When you're working with like a Circle K, the regional people are out in the field and they have their phones on them and they can call their 800 number and they have one contact and they will call me. We're able to dispatch all of their interior services or build out and manage their exterior services, such as landscaping or snow removal programs for the entire season. This creates a lot of efficiency from saving time, tracking down vendors, consolidating invoicing, and having a consistent technology platform.
Excellent, makes sense. So if a company does decide, hypothetically, to outsource their facilities maintenance and repair, are there different options to do that?
Yes, there are different options, definitely. The first option is to partner with an extensive network of third-party service providers. In this scenario, the facility maintenance company establishes working relationship with trades and suppliers who perform all the necessary trades, locksmith, handyman, electrical, as well as more specialized services like backflow, grease trap, and fire extinguisher inspections. Once a work order is issued, your facility partner is responsible for finding the best vendor on trade specialty, urgency, and budget. Often we have agreed upon rates with our customers. The work order is also placed on a team that will handle the work order from order entry to when the work order is invoiced out. This is crucial in today's world with IVR compliances and customer preferred web-based systems, for example, Fexa. The other option is a vendor who self-performs your required services. This means they have their own staff and is charged with completing the work order. Because they are completing work order for multiple clients, they manage the resource and scale up or down on their demand, so you don't have to. This model can provide increased control, quality, and satisfaction. This model typically works better in larger metropolitan areas where it's easy to service multiple clients within a defined geography, whereas in smaller markets or rural areas, there might not be enough work to keep this gentleman in business and having to justify a team of techs and necessary equipment on hand.
Yeah, and so prior to MCS joining Chain Store, we solely employed that first option that Laura mentioned, using a network of over 30,000 vetted service partners to perform the work. Just a typical national aggregator type of company. However, we now offer a hybrid model, which is what you're seeing a lot in the market right now, which means that we not only have those 30,000 service providers, but we also have boots on the ground in particular markets, and self-performing service centers. So this delivery model is where we would then use our core contractors, people who work directly for our business, for the work that we have chosen in those particular markets. It allows us to handle extensive, detailed jobs with our service professionals, but it also allows us to handle work in every zip code, Canada, Puerto Rico, Guam, using our service partner network. Now, hybrid models have, some really key benefits to them as well. One of them is quality control. We're able to select the services and the types of projects that we can best fulfill with our own technicians. Likewise, we're able to select, which projects we feel our local service partners can help us with as well. The second thing is project oversight and control, working with an experienced team that knows how to manage their own technicians, as well as contracted vendors, who understand our requirements, understand our expectations, and we're able to provide a single point of contact back to our clients. The third thing is efficiency and flexibility. Having one provider with a hybrid service model approach, you can cover a large area. It simplifies the entire process while also getting the services that you need to your locations. And the last benefit is local knowledge. So having service centers in major markets, we're able to have, I apologize. We're able to really figure out the pulse of that area. I am so sorry. So we're really able to figure out, what's going on in that particular market. Our local contractors also are very proud of where they work and where they eat and where they sleep. And so they are, very, very knowledgeable about local municipality codes, and they take a lot of pride in their work in their particular areas.
Thank you. Excellent information and very interesting. So given all of that and information about how chain store maintenance is so plugged into so many different markets and local networks, do you typically see facility managers working with one primary sort of hub company like chain store maintenance, or do you see them working with multiple companies to glean advantages from more than one? What are you typically seeing?
That's a great question. We see both, and sometimes we see both within one organization. We might work with one regional FM who decides that a particular part of their region, they're going to use a national company. They're going to use someone with a hybrid model or a national approach. And then for another market, say they're managing, Charlotte, North Carolina, they might use a local for that particular market. So it really does range. I think it kind of varies depending on what their needs are in that particular market. What we have seen is that we've seen a lot of our clients trying to centralize their facilities maintenance program as much as possible, whether this is on a local market level, for a region, or across all of their locations nationally. Regardless of the geography, it's always wise to have a backup plan. It's always wise to, have your primary and then have a secondary option for coverage.
And some of the reasons why companies are shifting to a centralized model include their financial savings, enhanced purchasing power, negotiating rates for larger volumes of work order. If they have many work orders coming in, and they're able to get some reduced rates, reduced hassle because you only have to make one call and the work order will be handled at that predetermined rate. Increased efficiency because you are dealing with one technology platform, fewer invoices, less paperwork, all in all. and reduced exposure to risks like uninsured providers, because we confirm all requirements up front and onboard service partners and have required insurance for all work that we complete.
Makes sense. So then regardless of which approach to facility maintenance our audience decides to go with, what are some key things that they should be on the lookout for? So how can we help educate them to make the right choices and not fall into any traps that might come back to haunt them? What are some tips or tricks you can offer for them?
Yeah. One thing to consider is technology, right? We are in an ever evolving world. Technology is always moving. AI is taking over, right? We're all going to give our faces to AI at some point. So
Hopefully not,
I
but
think,
yeah.
right. Technology is key. You know, if you're handling maintenance in-house, do you have what you need, or do you need to acquire a system to effectively manage your work orders? But if you're outsourcing, what technology does your partner use? Does it integrate with the systems that you have in place? Having solid systems providing the tracking, reporting, and visibility to manage your facilities is absolutely key. And then, you know, if you decide to outsource, another thing to consider is whether your partner can provide preventative maintenance services. It's one thing to have your emergency and reactive services covered, but having preventative maintenance programs in place can reduce the number of calls. It can lengthen the time that of useful life you have on equipment, and it's definitely a key consideration when choosing a partner.
Yeah, and some other things to consider is programs like licenses and permits, and whether you stay in compliance with tankless hot water heaters or backflow testing. If we have that all in our computer system, I've seen backflows where the utility companies have them on a paper system on their desk and they don't know where the backflow is. We have all of that stuff in-house. We have all of it on your CMMS system. We're forever tracking when your location was last given their backflow test. The licenses, the permits are all very, very key in this day and age. One of the other things is, how long has your service partner been in business? Longevity is always a very good sign that a partner has built trust with their clients. Chain Store has been in the business for 30 years, and MCS was established in 1986, both having long-time records and very known in the industry. So establishing an integral partner is key for part of your decision-making process.
Yep. Yeah, makes sense. Looks like we do have a question that has come in. So let's take that question now. Let's see. With outsourcing so much of the maintenance program for a facility, how do you keep track of all of the different vendors?
That's a great question. You know, a lot of companies who manage a number of vendors have some sort of internal grading system. I mean, it's similar to what Fexa offers for their clients, right? There's a scorecarding system. I know at Chain Store Maintenance, we grade our vendors after every job, after every work order. There's a scale which we measure and provide feedback, and then we have access to that vendor score. And Fexa offers a similar model on all of their service providers for their clients. So I think grading and scoring your contractors after each job is how you keep tabs on how well they're performing.
And we not only rate and score the individual vendors in our proprietary system, but we also watch our scores on all of the CMMS systems like Fexa and Service Channel and all of the others. So,
yep. Okay, we have another question that has come through. What do you rate the vendors on? So what are your criteria or metrics that you look at to think about whether or not a vendor is providing, I guess, the right kind of service or doing a good job or a bad job?
Well, internally in our company, we measure KPI according to what matters most to our clients. So we measure their response times, we measure their interactions with the locations. So if a store manager says, you know, this guy was great, he was polite, he was in his uniform, he interacted with our store team well, and was quick and efficient, that holds value. Versus, you know, if he comes in, he's not dressed appropriately, he makes people feel uncomfortable, or he or she, you know, those are important qualities to kind of track and gauge. Likewise, we measure how quickly it takes them to get documents to us, whether that be quotes or invoices. We also measure what their pricing looks like in a scale against other companies in the market. So if their pricing is coming in higher than other vendors we're working with in the market, we want to know that. And we want to make sure that, you know, if we're using someone who provides a higher rate, is there value there? Is there a reason why? I know, you know, on Fexa, they offer different grading criteria customized to what the client is looking for. A lot of that is customer driven, whether, you know, that particular customer is looking to find out how quickly we get to location, whether IVR matters most to them. So I think it's how you rate your vendors is based on what's most important to you.
Great. So another question has come in. What kind of company, for example, insource or outsource, would be best experienced to be able to run a multi-store rollout utilizing corporate supplied materials?
The answer to that would probably be a company like a chain store maintenance, because we would be able to work with the customer, and the customer would tell us where the materials are coming from, and then we would have the resources across the country to be able to work with the vendors, and we could have a call with them, and we could set it up so that the materials and the service all goes through our system, so we know what's going on with every other call. Not only could we keep them updated, but we would provide a weekly spreadsheet as to when the services are going to be done, or keep up with the deadline that the corporate office may have.
Great. Do you have anything to add to that, Crystal, or was that
No,
pretty
I think
comprehensive?
pretty much yeah.
Okay. Wow, a lot of questions. We have time for another one, probably just one more. It's about licensing. Regarding licensing, is company license enough? Or do we have to submit tech's individual licenses? Oh, this is interesting. Also, in cases of individuals license, if techs are registered under their own license but work with this, is this a problem? So licensing, do you need company? Do you accept companies' licenses or individual licenses? Or do you have a preference there, or how do you analyze what you accept there as with chain store?
Yeah, it really does vary. You know, a lot of our clients depend on us to qualify and quantify licenses of our technicians. So we're the ones who are tracking what they have licenses for, and we hold that information internally. I can tell you that I've rarely been asked by a client to produce a copy of the license. So it's just something that internally we track to ensure that we're providing the best service to our clients, that we're sending out, you know, a licensed electrician when that is needed for the scope. And that's twofold, right? The reason we do that is, one, it's the right thing to do by our client, but two, it's the best way to make sure the job gets done correctly the first time. So if you're sending unlicensed professionals to the job, you're going to see that. That's going to come back. It always does. So that's one of the reasons why we always monitor and maintain those licenses in-house.
Right, that makes sense. Okay. All right. Well, we are absolutely at the about the 45-minute mark, and that's where we need to stop for today. Any unanswered questions, I will be happy to pass along to my experts, and they are available to continue to answer questions. I will also be providing information about contacting Chain Store Maintenance if you have additional questions about their services. Or products that you might have interest in. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today. This was a great interactive show. I think a lot of people found this information very useful. I will be emailing everyone who registered for today's show a link to the recording of the show, along with any additional resources that we will be providing. The Fexa website and YouTube channel also contain all the Fexa Network shows and our resource library that can be viewed 24/7. Be on the lookout for invitation to future shows, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us and have a great day.
Thank you.